Hello and welcome to another Coil Chat. Today we are going to break down the Bryan Kohberger case with the updates that have come down in just the last month, because I think it's really important to update what is going on with the latest information, because trial is coming and it's going to be coming fast. It's coming in the fall. August 2025 is when it's scheduled right now, but with these new updates, it's going to be interesting to see how this goes. And I would not be surprised if the case gets continued based off of the fact that this is a capital murder case, meaning they're going for the death penalty for Bryan Kohberger. And there is a lot that goes into that. So I could see this getting continued a little bit farther down the road. So the first thing we want to talk about is the timeline, the text, and the 911 call, Idaho College murder. So we want to kind of break down the timeline. On the night the 4 Idaho College students were stabbed to death, 2 of the victims, the surviving roommates, were frantically trying to reach their friends. According to text messages included in the court documents, this is what happened. So on 1:45 a.m., it showed that the 4 victims, Kaylee, Zayna, Ethan, and Madison, were believed to arrive at the house on King Road at about 1:45 a.m. At 2:10 a.m., one of the 2 survivors, who were roommates, is shown to have messaged an Uber driver to take them from a bar to the house. At the time, the other surviving roommates were shown to be awake and all texting each other. At 4 a.m., Zayna received a DoorDash order. According to prosecutors, and one surviving roommate said that she thought she heard conclaves playing with her dog. And this is what it said. A short time after, the roommate said she heard someone she thought was Zayna say something to the effect of, "There's someone here." And at 4:17 a.m., a security camera less than 50 feet away from her room picked up sounds of a barking dog, which was distorted audio of what sounded like voices or a whimper, followed by a loud thud, only 17 minutes after the DoorDash order was coming. So here are some of the texts that we have between the roommates. It's between 2:08 to 4:24 a.m. It said, "No one is answering. I'm really confused right now. Kaylee, what's going on?" And then they started going a little more frantic. "Yo, dude, what the F?" Zayna was wearing all black because if you remember, one of the roommates opened the door and saw somebody all in black, and it scared her so bad that she went back in her room and shut the door. And these were the text messages that came. She said, "I'm freaking out right now." No, it's like she was wearing a ski mask almost. And then somebody said, "STFU." Actually, like he had something over his head and a little ND mouth. And her friend said, "I'm not kidding. I am so freaked out." They said, "So am I. My phone is going to die." Somebody said, "Come to my room, run down here." So both surviving roommates are expected to testify in the upcoming capital murder trial. And obviously these text messages are going to play a huge part about what they saw, what they thought was going on. And then to kind of put together the timeline of when they believe that all 4 of these roommates were brutally murdered. So just before 4:30 a.m., both roommates were texting back and forth, and they appeared to grow frightened as their calls and texts to the 4 victims were becoming unanswered. But they didn't go out there and they didn't go to see where they were because they were very, very frantic and scared about what was going on. So then the 911 call came out, and this didn't happen until in the afternoon of the next day. In the transcript, you can see that the roommates know something's wrong. There's unresponsive people, and they're literally panicked about what to do. One of them says, "Okay, and tell me exactly what's going on." And she says, "One of our roommates who passed out and she was drunk last night and she's not waking up." The operator was like, "Okay." And they said they saw a man in their home. The operator's like, "Is she unconscious?" And then the operator was like, "Okay, we've got help on the way." And basically it goes through the call, and the dispatcher moved to the end of the call and basically says that at the end of the call that the callers indicate first responders had arrived, and a 4th man can be heard on the transcript saying, "I think we have a homicide," according to the transcript. They found a couple of the bodies. They're going to try to do life-saving measures. As we know now, with the brutality of what happened, there was nothing that they were going to be able to do. Just a couple things from this. Bryan Kohberger's trial is set to begin August 11th. There are several pretrial hearings coming up, several motions that the defense have filed that we have talked about. First of all, the defense have said that death penalty should be taken off because of Bryan Kohberger's diagnoses of autism, that they're talking about how a jury is going to be biased based on the fact that his autism causes them to not have any emotional reactions, which is going to play into them being biased against him in trial. All of those motions are going to have to be heard prior to the trial. They're claiming that by giving him the death penalty with his autism disability, that is a violation of his constitutional right, that's unusual and cruel punishment. So we're really going to have to see what's going on. We're going to have to see what the court's going to do, but we'll continue to break down if new things come about, and it's going to be really interesting. I think that trial's going to go forward, and I think the death penalty is going to stay on the table, and I do think that he is going to be convicted, and he's going to be sentenced to the death penalty. I want to know, what do you guys think? Leave your comments below and make sure you subscribe to my channel